Good morning. Looks like it's going to rain. So I'm just sitting out here on the deck and listening to the peepers this morning. I don't know if you can hear them or not over there on Blue Mountains Creek. They sure get pretty loud, don't they? And I thought, well, I'll just have a cup of coffee with you this morning as I'm talking about a topic that I think is really important, and that's about friendship. Friendship is a really interesting thing. It's a blessing. Sometimes causes pain, causes us to be vulnerable to one another. But I remember as a young lad going off to Marine Corps boot camp, my father said a couple of things to me that I didn't believe, but I've come to believe quite strongly now. The first thing he said was, "I suppose, son, you think I'm kind of stupid and kind of out of touch with things." And I said, "Well, yeah, I think, yeah, Dad, I guess so. I kind of think of that." He said, "Well, son, when you come back 4 years from now, you'll be surprised how much I've learned." And he was right. He was right. The other thing he said that I remember is that you'll be a lucky man, David, if you have 5 friends in your life. I thought, 5 friends? Come on, what the heck is that? You know, I certainly have more than 5 friends, but now looking back in my 8th decade, that's true. If we can count 5 friends on our hand, we are very very lucky people. And and why is it that? Well, to have real friendships, it takes a lot of maintenance. It takes a lot of time. So if you're thinking about hundreds of friends, there's no no way because you can't spend enough time with them to develop that. The other thing I came across, one of my favorite poets is David White. He's an English poet, but strongly out of the creation Celtic tradition. And he wrote this in his book Consolations, which is a number of definitions. And he says this about friendship: friendship transcends disappearance. An enduring friendship goes on after death. The exchange only transmuted by absence. The relationship advancing and maturing in a silent, internal conversational way, even after one half of the bond has passed on. And he writes that in his book Consolations, but he also wrote another great book. It's called The Heart Aroused. And the interesting thing about the poet David White is that he's tended to work a lot with corporate America about their need to find their soul and their need to look inside of themselves. So that's what I've been thinking today about friendship. And I think 2 friendships that have passed on. Been a high school buddy of mine, and I think of him often. And we got together after I came back from the Marines and was at the university and that. So we tended to maintain our conversation. He was a journalist. We often we often fought about things and disagreed, but I think looking back, I really loved him because he's still in my mind today. And the other person, when I immediately think about those friendships that have passed and how they still are active in my life, has to do with my friend David Gorski, who we worked together in the Minneapolis Police Department. Uh, he came to work with me in Burnsville. He went on to be chief of police in Golden Valley and in Appleton, where he caught a blood cancer, much like Sabina has. And I had a chance to be with him, and then as a clergy person to minister to your friend and to be there, um, and also to be honored to, as a Roman Catholic, to concelebrate with his priest at his burial mass. Um, Friendships are beautiful things, but if we think we can have a whole bunch of them, then we're not doing our real friends a lot of good. we need to take those few, call them the vital five. Take those five and really work on them, and bring them to fruition, and be vulnerable to them. And as Brene Brown constantly talks about, there can be no courage. I think there can be no friendships without being vulnerable, and that's opening up your heart. So think about that today, brothers and sisters, as we go forth into the world, rejoicing in the power of the Spirit. God bless you. Yep, it is starting to rain. I'll take some refuge. You too. Bye.